A journey that once started, will never end. Will she ultimately stop amidst the endless scenery and companionship along the way? Scrap one copy, come in and take a look. Chapter 1. Introduction. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jun Yu, female, male lover, both parents have passed away. She has a house and savings, but no car. It was mainly when she first went to study for a driver's license that she discovered that she had indirect symptoms of road dementia. Specifically, during each Subject 3 exam, she was able to drive on other roads, and later had to be located by the driving school teacher based on the location on the car. Speaking of it, it's heartbreaking. It's hard to distinguish between left and right, throttle, brake, and clutch, but the result is stuck in Kazan and she can't get through it. She's also strange. Even though she listens to electronic signals to drive, why can she always come to other roads? The most important thing is that these roads are not even known to the driving test school teachers. It is all thanks to her blessings that the teachers know there is such a road. It has to be said that the quality of the accompanying teacher is really good, and he will not step on the brake until the final reminder. After 3 unsuccessful assessments, she was a bit tempted to switch to a new driving school, but in the end, she changed to a different test center and did not change to a new driving school. Finally, she successfully made all driving schools remember her and was blacklisted. Thinking about it is all tears. Well, the topic has gone too far. Because she has a house and savings, she lives a good life without any regrets. The only regret she has is taking the driver's license exam, but it's still a big deal. And her sleep quality is very good. She goes to bed at 10 p.m. every night, wakes up at 7:30 a.m., goes to the gym at 8 a.m., goes to work at 9 p.m., eats at 11 p.m., takes a 2-hour lunch break and continues to work. She finishes work at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Although she runs her own store in class, she also goes to work. So she didn't have a car accident, had no regrets, and had no major physical illnesses. After all, she's the only one who gets a monthly check. Up. How could she have turned into this without any of these situations happening? The girl sitting by the river looks like she's only 4 or 5 years old, with messy long hair and dirty clothes covered in dirt and stains. It's not that she wanted it, but that she had just experienced a heart-wrenching massacre. After finally escaping, she has no interest in organizing herself for the time being. She just wants to take a good rest and organize her memories. The little girl's memory is not very useful. When she is 4 or 5 years old, what you expect her to remember is that she only remembers having her brother play with her every day, having grandparents holding her, having endless delicious food every day, and having a cousin she doesn't really like. She was also hunted down because her mother went out to burn incense, and she insisted on arguing. As a result, after my mother finished offering incense, she encountered slaughter on the way down the mountain. These people didn't say a word and just came up with knives to chop. Even if they brought many guards outside, it couldn't change the situation of having a pig teammate. When she walked over, the little girl happened to be pushed off the car by someone. Based on her experience of reading countless novels, it might be that cousin who pushed her off the car. The little girl who was pushed out of the car was lucky enough to fall onto the body, probably not having seen such a terrifying scene before. The little girl was scared out. She had never seen it before, so her first reaction was to get back on the horse-drawn carriage. It was likely that the carriages had learned of her thoughts and ran all the way, leaving only those who were still fighting. Jun Yu had no choice but to drill into the nearby forest, as she was young and agile. Unfortunately, what kind of deep mountain and old forest is this? No one came to remove the grass, it's even taller than her. Perhaps indirect road dementia has flared up again, and when she realizes it, there is a small river in front of her, and her appearance has changed. The sore legs no longer have the strength to stand up. She was still thinking about whether she had lived too leisurely in her previous life to offend the heavens. A wolf howl interrupted her thoughts. Ah! Heaven is about to destroy me. After a sigh, she forced herself to stand up, not to be eaten alive by wolves. She limped up the stream, knowing that wolves have a terrible sense of smell, but still had to struggle. Fortunately, not long after walking, Jun Yu saw a cave and considered whether to go and give her a head or wait for the wolf pack to catch up and eat her. In the end, she decided to take a gamble, in case the cave was unowned, and slowly walked into it. What Jun Yu didn't know was that the moment she stepped into the cave, it disappeared, which means there was no sign of a cave outside except for her being inside. The black and long passage is extremely frightening. This body has already reached its limit, and Jun Yu is still thinking about whether to sit down and rest on the spot. My eyes lit up. As if she had traveled again, everything in front of her was full of vitality. The scene of birds flying and butterflies dancing made Jun Yu take another step forward, and it was this step that completely disappeared the cave behind her. I panicked for a second. Jun Yu sat down straight in place, and I had no strength left. I am mentally old, and my body is only 4 years old. I can't move anymore. Perhaps she had arrived at a safe place, and the soreness and drowsiness on her body suddenly hit. In an instant, Jun Yu fell asleep. If it weren't for the heavy breathing, people would think she had fainted directly. But her condition is similar to fainting. Because she has fallen asleep and her body is small, she has no perception of the outside world and does not know that she has been saved, even though the person who saved her was flying with a sword. At this moment, in the general's mansion, which is the home of this body, the little cousin is crying and can't say anything clearly, only crying. And the general almost sent out his subordinates, but still couldn't find any news of his own young lady, let alone the news, not even the body. The general's mansion remained silent, although everyone was only frightened. Yes, there were no dead people, just a little scared. But their young lady was lost, the only girl within 7 generations was lost. General Jun knows that if the clan knew this news, they would fly over and chop him off. But this news cannot be kept hidden, the earlier it can be said, the better. After all, the people of your family are all over the world, and if the people of your family know about it earlier, they can also find the young lady earlier. Only after resolving the subsequent events fairly well did he have the mood to sit down and consider who did it. The downfall of the Jun family made it clear who the biggest beneficiary was. The general of the army reluctantly closed his eyes, as it seemed that they couldn't tolerate their family anymore. I originally planned to hand in the military talisman tomorrow, but when the dog emperor dealt with it, he decided to keep it in his own hands. However, the future for the Jun clan may not be easy. The old father here is still thinking about this and that, and the people of the Jun family have received the news that they have already fried the pot. Chapter 2. Where did I come from? You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Jun Yu felt it again, she only felt warm all over her body, feeling incredibly comfortable. I opened my eyes in a daze and saw a white overhead curtain. She is lying on a bed. Amazingly, even though she was feeling extremely sore when she fainted, there was no sensation on her body now. Some of the sensations were just comfortable, as if he could lift 10 more cows at this moment. Jumping out of bed and resurrected with blood, Jun Yu stretched out her arms and moved her legs. It's so magical. When I was in the middle school physical education exam, there was only one physical education class per day, and I only had 45 minutes left. During those 45 minutes, I practiced tirelessly, and the next day, it was even difficult to walk down the stairs. But this body has been running for so long yesterday, and it's still so small that it doesn't feel anything after sleeping. Is this world so mysterious? I probably heard her wake up. The door was opened and a woman dressed in a white gauze skirt entered. Her long hair was tied up in a simple hairpin on her head, and her exquisite face made people immediately call her a little fairy. The little sister is so beautiful. Jun Yu almost didn't drool. Perhaps the body was too small for Jun Yu to control, so what she was thinking was directly reflected on her face. Haha. Perhaps she had never seen such an interesting expression before, and the girl laughed out loud. Perhaps she felt something was wrong, so she covered her mouth with one hand. Cough. She coughed lightly and pulled her thoughts back. Hello little girl, I'm Chen Rong, the monitor of the senior class, one of the 9 Heavens Holy Academy. You can call me Rong Rong sister. Can you tell my sister why you fainted in our college's planting yard? As soon as he heard the question, Jun Yuyu withdrew his expression of being a flower lover and pretended to be thinking. He said in a milky voice, Rong Rong sister, I don't know either. I only remember that my mother and I went to burn incense, and then some bad people wanted to kill us. The uncle who was driving ran, and in the middle, I fell off. Then I ran, and then I ran. Later, when I saw a cave, I hid inside. I walked in the cave, but later I didn't know. I feel wronged in my appearance, but it seems like I am blaming myself for not remembering things. Chen Rong touches his chin and smells incense. To recruit disciples from the secular world, she really knows what incense is for. It seems that this child comes from the secular world. There is also a cave, which may be the teleportation array set up by some senior. But now that the recruitment has ended, the little girl doesn't know if she can stay. Do you remember your name and where is your home? My name is Jun Yuyu, my home is. Wow. I don't remember. Cry whenever you want, anyway, she's only 4 years old and not embarrassing. Chen Rong. It is indeed a child. Jun Yuyu. His body is already a child. Alright, be good. Sister, take you to the college to find the teacher. Let the teacher take you home, okay? Okay, sister, replied sobbing. As a result, following Chen Rong out, her worldview was completely shattered. That one with its big mouth open and shaking is the cannibal flower that costs 50 cents in special effects on TV, right? How could there be plants like carnivorous flowers in this place, and isn't there any other type of plant that is illusory? Also, isn't that corn? Why are you spitting popcorn like bullets? And in the sky, it seems like a person is flying. Is that right? So where exactly did she travel to? Jun Yuyu is crazy, please ask someone to give you some scientific knowledge, Originally, upon hearing the words of the college and teachers, she thought it was a relatively developed world. Now, looking at it again, no one knows where to go. Even plants are so ferocious, and the future is worrying. Chen Rong seemed to have just realized that she had brought a child, and the team leader comforted him, don't be afraid, this area is only planted with these 2 plants. This is one of our planting areas, and they won't attack us, come on, sister, hold you. Without waiting for Jun Yuyu to answer, he picked her up and stepped on his flying sword, then flew away. Fly away. Jun Yuyu held onto Chen Rong tightly. Mom, I'm afraid of heights. Today's performances are particularly frequent. By the time they arrived at their destination, Jun Yuyu had already become a dead Yuyu. Perhaps because it was difficult to hold someone in front of her, Chen Rong put her down as soon as she put on the flying sword, so she came all the way holding Chen Rong's leg and blowing a huge wind. Now, with an explosive head and a pink yet delicate little face, the whole child looks extremely funny. Watching his teacher take a sip of tea and spray it out, Chen Rong finally looked at Jun Yuyu, and then he felt empty. Hey, forget that you're not alone anymore. Jun Yuyu. Listen to me, thank you. You didn't treat me like any other creature. Teacher, that's her situation. Chen Rong's teacher, Sun Yiping, nodded and said, at present, it seems that this child can only stay in the academy. She came through a teleportation array, but you didn't find the cave where she came from there, which proves that it was a one-time teleportation array. There are so many in the secular world, and she doesn't have coordinates in the secular world. We can't send her back, so we can only stay in the academy. Dissolve, take her to test her spiritual roots. If her spiritual roots are good, send them to school. If not, stay and do chores. But now that the recruitment season is over, will they let me test it? Take my ID card and go. Okay, teacher. This time, Chenrong learned a lesson and held Jun Yuyu in front of her, setting up a protective formation for her. This has returned to a new place, and finally it's not a new look. Hand in the teacher's verification, and Chenrong didn't get any trouble. He went directly to test his spiritual roots. After all, although the recruitment season has passed, there are still some transfer students, right? Jun Yuyu was a bit worried, not sure if this body had spiritual roots. She hoped it wouldn't be like some novels, either a useless person or some kind of destined child. She had no understanding of the world, and it was too dangerous for her to stand up. And most importantly, she is just a child now, completely ignorant of this place and this college. What if this is a demon stronghold? Don't underestimate the brain-boosting ability of a 10-year-old bookworm. Although her life is so good that it's frustrating, who has stipulated that she can't have any hobbies at work? Led by Chenrong to a circular crystal ball. Jun Yuyu is begging for heaven and earth in your heart, not too good, not too garbage. She doesn't want to become the so-called female lead at all. She would rather be ordinary and disappear from the crowd. You should know that the life of the female protagonist is like playing a game of passing levels, fighting against each other. She is afraid, she only wants to be calm. Put your hand on the crystal ball. Suddenly, the crystal ball lit up. Chapter 3. The Realm of Cultivation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The two clusters of green and red, as well as the bright light, are harmoniously chasing in the crystal ball. Looking at the situation, Jun Yuyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Based on her experience of reading novels, this should be a double spiritual root, not too bad, and should be able to survive well. Turn your head to look at Chenrong. My heart thumped for a moment, this sister's expression is not right. Is her spiritual root very good? As soon as his thoughts fell, a messy man burst into the door and shouted, "Where is the firewood spirit root? Where is the firewood spirit root?" Jun Yuyu's hand had not yet fallen off the crystal ball when the big man pulled it over. "It's you, this little girl. It's not bad. Your talent is completely born for us to refine pills. From today on, you will be a child in our alchemy department." Jun Yuyu. Chenrong stayed aside when the great Han came in. Isn't this the most difficult 8th-level alchemist in their college? You should know that even her teacher would have to politely bow to this person. Although Humu Lingzhen is rare, it is not without it. How could this master be so excited? Looking at the crystal ball again, only to find that it was directly kicked and shattered by the master. Oh my, why is this thing so fragile? Did you buy fake goods? What do the logistics department eat for? Even the spirit testing ball can buy fake goods. The master complained falsely. Jun Yuyu, who clearly saw his movements, said. Chenrong, who clearly saw his movements, said. The master glanced at Chenrong with a sideways glance, and Chenrong quickly bowed and said, "Yes, yes. The logistics department can't even buy spirit testing balls. Next time, let the dean deduct their funds to avoid crying out every time." Jun Yuyu. It still has to be you. The master scratched his beard and said, not bad. I'll take this child with me. The green one is for you, and the white one is for your teacher. He casually handed out the 2 bottles on his body, and the master flew away leisurely holding you. Jun Yuyu. Help, how long has it been since I took a shower? Chenrong glanced at the green pill bottle and saw that it was actually 2 perfect level foundation building pills. Now, there is hope for her to build a foundation. Without checking what was inside the white bottle, he flew straight to the teacher's classroom. What, you said there's a no-fly policy in the academy, but let's pull you down. Why didn't the master just stop you? Do you know that I'm helping the master? Although he is a messy uncle, he is much more careful than Shenrong. Perhaps it was also because he knew he hadn't taken a shower for a long time and was afraid of smoking his little disciple, so he not only set up a protective formation but also an isolation formation, so Jun Yuyu didn't smell any strange smell all the way. My eyes were a bit dull, but in the end, I couldn't resist the call of Duke Zhou and fell asleep. A child's body is not tired. It's probably getting smaller. Our protagonist hasn't even realized it yet. After being busy for so long, she hasn't even been hungry yet. So when Jun Yuyu woke up again and found out that she had not only slept for 3 days and 3 nights, but also left the academy and arrived at the Gi sect, she was completely dazed. Mom, it's exciting. I've changed several maps now. Playing games and changing maps is not as fast as her. This time, she came to pick her up as a gentle and beautiful young man. As soon as the beautiful boy saw her, he picked her up from the bed and gave her a new pair of shoes. Jun Yuyu finally realized that she had changed all over and was wearing a light blue gauze skirt. Jun Yuyu is not doing well as a whole. Although she is still a child now, she is almost in her 30s in her previous life and has not been changed into clothes naked yet. The gentle young man didn't pay much attention to Jun Yuyu's condition, so he placed her in front of a mirror and began combing her hair. While combing her hair, he introduced herself, "My name is Umo, and in the future, you can call me you senior brother. I'll take you to eat something first, and then slowly introduce you to Gi sect." When Jun Yuyu returned from her own thoughts, she had already had 2 small ball heads pricked on her head, not to mention it was quite pretty. But why does a big man have the skill of piercing his head? Yuma took Jun leisurely all the way to the cafeteria. After arranging Jun Yuyu on the small chair, Yuma went to fetch rice. From afar, Jun Yuyu could hear the gossip of the uncle and aunt who were cooking. "Yuma, did your master pick up the doll again? I won't throw it to you again, will I? It's just that your master has picked up countless children all year round, leaving them all to you to take care of, and he doesn't care about himself. Your master won't run out again, will he?" Yuma. "I don't want to talk." Jun Yuyu. "I don't seem to have been picked up, did I?" When Yuma brought the rice back, Jun Yuyu also roughly understood her cheap master's temperament. She loves to pick up people, but if she does, she is not responsible. She has left it all to her disciple. How can she feel that the future is worrying? Looking at the porridge in front of you, you take a deep breath. It's okay. It's okay, as long as you have something to eat, it's good. He raised his head and drank congee out of the taste of medicine. I thought it was white porridge as light as water, but it actually had a faint sweet taste in the mouth, and then it was salty, and finally it directly turned into warm current and rushed into my stomach. Jun Yuyu felt that she would be resurrected with full blood. Yuma smiled. This is Ling Congee, which is most suitable for children. Let's go. I'll show you around Gi. Reaching out and holding you leisurely. When Master brought you back, you were already asleep. I checked you and found that you had taken a small amount of Spring Revival pill before, even if it was very small. However, the pill was too domineering for those who had not yet practiced. Don't worry about Master exporting the excess medicinal properties from your body, as it won't cause harm to your body. Master will go down the mountain for class now. Master is the acting teacher of the 9 Heavens Holy Academy, with 7 days of guidance classes per month, so Master will only be back in 2 days. You can come to me if you have anything to do during these 2 days. I am the first disciple of Master. Master has picked up many people, but he did not accept disciples. You are the first person Master said you want to accept disciples. Jun Yuyu was puzzled and said, "Master, are you very skilled?" Mainly because she is not familiar with this world, so she knows nothing. Yuma didn't mock Jun Yu either, he just took Jun Yu to the mountaintop. Looking down the mountain, there were clearly defined houses, flowing rivers, and dancing small animals. It was a picturesque world that she had never seen before, even on TV. Her eyes widened uncontrollably. This is the realm of cultivation, a world of the jungle. The realm here is divided into 5 major realms. Chi cultivation realm, foundation building realm, elixir formation realm, elemental baby realm, and divine transformation realm. Among them, the Chi cultivation realm is divided into 9 layers, which absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, strengthen the essence, wash the marrow and improve the constitution. Starting from the foundation realm, each realm is divided into 3 levels. Low level, intermediate, and high level. Building a foundation environment, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, gathering the sea of elixirs, compressing spiritual energy, and solidifying true essence. Jidun realm absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, combines the golden pill with the elemental spirit, and has a lifespan of up to 500 years. The Yuanying realm absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, strengthens the Yuanying, and uses the infant fire alchemy in refining tools, resulting in a lifespan of about 1,000 years. Transforming the divine realm, arousing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, aligning with the 5 elements, achieving an indestructible physical body, and a lifespan of up to 2,000 years. When you reach the advanced level of transforming gods, you can soar to the upper realm Jun Yuyu. It's really the cultivation world. This is the level division along the way of cultivation. On the way to cultivation, there is one of the most popular professions. Alchemist. There are alchemists with strict divisions from level 1 to level 9. They can refine various pills with medicinal herbs, and each pill has its own effect. But due to the scarcity of Homuling Gen, alchemists are extremely rare Jun Yuyu. Understood, rare things are precious. Gi sect is one of the top 10 sects in the cultivation world. Except for those designated by the sect members who can directly enter, those who need to learn can only enter the academy and build a foundation before learning. But some people will never be able to build a foundation for their entire lives, and too many people will die while practicing the 9th layer of Qi. So, junior sister, your talent must be very good, so that master can shamelessly snatch you back Jun Yuyu. Yuma looked at Jun Yuyu and said, so, junior sister, I will take you to have fun for a few days. I'm afraid you won't even have time to go out after master comes back. Do you know how I spent these 3 years in chapter 4? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. There were still doubts at first, but when Master Yao Jun returned, she had no more questions. Looking at the book in front of her, which was taller than her, she felt like crying without tears. She had to recite it all, starting from the top one. Jun Yuyu only felt a sense of darkness in front of her. Can she change her profession? Alchemists are not suitable for her at all. Trembling as he opened the book, Jun looked up slowly and pitifully at his master. Master, I can't read. Yao Jun. My disciple has lost his habit and forgotten that children of this age cannot read. Without saying a word, he caught the eldest disciple back and threw the enlightenment task directly to him. Yuma. Master, having you is really my blessing. Unfortunately, Yuma could only take over the baby again. It's not the first time since then. Besides, this junior sister is so well behaved that he also likes her. Jun Yuyu once again felt what learning from heaven is. Even if she has gone through a lifetime and stepped into the hell of learning again. Ah no, it's heaven, she still doesn't adapt. After all, using square characters for nearly 30 years in her previous life couldn't change so quickly, so even if she had memories from her past life, it was still very difficult for her to learn. Fortunately, in her past life, she was a super academic bully, and the body she had traveled through also looked like an academic bully. In just 1 month, she recognized all the characters. One reason is that the enlightenment time for people is not long. One reason is because I don't know the common sense of the cultivation world. So neither of them knows how abnormal a person is who can completely remember the knowledge of the cultivation world in a month. When Yao Jun came back to know this result, he fell deeply silent. He seemed to grab and pick up a demon. Because one cannot practice before the age of 7. You have to ask why. How did she know? Anyway, Senior, you said that this has been a rule in the cultivation world for thousands of years. It's not that no one has secretly practiced, the ultimate result is that the person who practiced will always be that big. Wherever they practiced before the age of 7, they only had that little cultivation in their lifetime, and no one can change it. Since the birth of Lizzie, no one in the cultivation world dares to cultivate until they are 7 years old. Of course, our protagonist won't die either. Mainly because she really doesn't have time. Children under 5 years old spend all their time reading and reciting, except for eating, sleeping, and using the restroom. Even in my sleep, it's still the medicinal name and its function. Jun Yu is crying to death, which can be compared to the college entrance examination. But the premise is that she is still a child. After 3 years of torment, she finally memorized all the books given by her unreliable master. Yes, I didn't finish reading it, I memorized it. Maybe it's the golden finger she crossed. She has acquired an unforgettable ability. For the past 3 years, in addition to her cultivation, she has been reciting books every day. Even if she had been reading books for more than 20 years in her past life, she would have almost vomited. This is not the age for cultivation. She quickly grabbed her senior brother and begged for help. Speaking of it, it's all tears. Despite being a senior disciple of medicine refining, he was forced into a decathlon by an unreliable master. Mainly because this master was too fond of picking up people from the alchemy peak, but he didn't care if he picked them up and threw them directly to his disciple. After the disciple finally raised the baby enough, he came to pick it up and throw it to the academy. I don't care about the eldest disciple who raised the baby with a handful of feces and urine. At the age of 6, Jun Yu couldn't bear to watch anymore, so she secretly found someone to stare at her master using the pill given to her by her senior brother. Don't be fooled by my senior brother's young age, but he is already a 3rd-level alchemist. My identity is still very impressive, hard work pays off for those who have intentions. Finally, his master picked up someone again. When Jun Yu learned the news, he cried, made a scene, and hung himself up, deceiving his family to come down the mountain. He played for a whole month before returning to the peak. Later on, I heard that her master had picked up the baby and didn't take her disciple seriously. I thought they would go back at night, but the crying of the baby he picked up almost lifted the alchemy peak, which led to him sending the baby away in less than 3 days. Less than half a month later, I picked up another baby who was still breastfeeding. I almost starved the baby to death, but it made the master so popular that he scolded him for 3 days and 3 nights. Anyway, when they came back, senior brother got a lot of good things, and she also got a lot. But the most joyful thing for Jun Yu is that since then, her master has finally stopped picking people up on the mountain, and within half a year, her senior brother has successfully become a level 4 alchemist. So, senior brother was delayed by cheap master. If you have the ability to pick it up, you need to have the ability to raise it. What's the point of throwing it to your disciple? Yao Jun probably realized that he was not suitable for being a master, so most of the time he gave spiritual stones, pills, and medicinal herbs. If you have any problems, come to him again. If there are no problems, just stay where you come from. Sitting cross-legged, use your mind to see and feel. The element closest to you in the air is the spiritual roots in your body, guiding them into your body. Jun Yu. Senior brother, what are you saying, oh? Except for the first sentence that she understood and could do, she didn't understand the other sentence. Forget it, do it first. Sitting cross-legged with eyes closed. For an hour, Jun Yu fell asleep. The next day, I persisted for 2 hours and fell asleep again. On the 3rd day, for 2.5 hours, I fell asleep. If it weren't for her senior brother saying that this was normal, she would definitely have thought his senior brother was fooling her. And so on until the 7th day, she finally didn't fall asleep. This time, when she closed her eyes, she was able to see. Countless small light spots flickered in the air, red, orange, yellow, green, red, blue, and purple. All colors were beautiful, except for green and red. All other colors seemed to touch her. Jun Yu didn't care either, carefully reciting the mnemonic and inhaling the most active spot of light near her into her body. She was very slow but steady, and so on, slowly and slowly, time and time again, until half of her body was red and half was green, before Jun Yu opened her eyes. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Chief Master and Senior Brother in front of me. As soon as the Master saw her wake up, he was extremely happy. She is truly a person with full soul value. She can bring chi into her body in 7 days. My disciple, we will rely on you to refine the medicine peak in the future. He said with tears in his eyes. But Jun Yu only wanted to drive people away this time, because it was her first time introducing chi into her body, so she also experienced the first time washing her tendons and marrow. In other words, she smelled worse than that thing in the pit, and I don't know how this master endured it. Perhaps sensing Jun Yu's embarrassment, Yumo reluctantly used a dust removal technique for him. In an instant, Jun Yu felt like she had been resurrected with full blood, and there was no smell on her body. A pair of beautiful eyes were shining brightly at my senior brother. Yumo smiled and said, "Don't worry, when you reach the 3rd level of chi refining, you can go to the sect's martial arts pavilion to choose. These are just basic spells that anyone can learn." Jun Yu nodded hard. This is a necessary skill for home travel, it must be learned. Upon seeing that no one was paying attention to him, Yao Jun coughed in frustration and said, "Cough cough cough, Yumo, you're so leisurely. Master was entrusted to go to an ancient secret realm." Yumo immediately realized, "Master, how long will you be going?" Yao Jun felt guilty and touched his nose. "It's as short as 10 years, and as long as I don't know." Yumo. Jun Yu. "No, you don't even know when you'll be able to come back. So why take me as an apprentice? Why don't you just let your apprentice take me as an apprentice?" Jun Yu's face was full of accusations. Yao Jun also seemed to feel sorry for Jun Yu and didn't dare to take a glance at her. Yumo sighed and said, "All right, I understand. You can make a will." Yao Jun finally breathed a sigh of relief and ran away quickly. Before running away, he also dropped 2 rings. Jun Yu took one of them. "Oh no, the alimony has arrived." Handing over the other one to his senior brother, he asked in confusion, "Why do we need to make a will?" Chapter 5. Refining Medicine or Alchemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Because Gi sect not only has our medicine refining peak, but more accurately, we are the 9th medicine refining peak, with 8 medicine refining peaks ahead of us. Because Master has a high level of alchemy and a good relationship with the sect leader, he is free to accept disciples as long as he submits a certain amount of pills to the sect every month. But the 8 peaks in front of them are different. They have many disciples, but almost all of them are external disciples. Even they have fire with spirit roots, and there are hardly any disciples who can be accepted as disciples. And every time Master goes on a long journey, he hands over enough pills for 100 years. No one dares to make things difficult for us for the next 100 years. If Master doesn't come back in 100 years, the 9th peak of medicine will also be passed to me. But if the Master does not make a will, the ownership of the 9th peak will be taken away. After all, this peak was not purchased by the Master, but only under the Master's name, so it still belongs to the Unification sect. Oh. Jun Yu nodded clearly. It's just eating out of households. The most important thing is that every time his Master makes a will, he can return safely. Jun Yu asked cautiously, "What about not making a will?" 8 out of 10 times were carried back by someone, and the remaining 2 times only left 1 breath, said Yumo with difficulty in expressing himself. Is it such a cult? Isn't this just a cult? I thought practicing was just sitting and practicing like this. As a result, she forgot that her master was unreliable, and her senior brother may not necessarily be reliable either. I used to think that my senior brother was reliable because he was taking care of the children, which is indeed very reliable. Now is the period of cultivation. With the master's indifferent attitude, it is estimated that the senior brother's cultivation also relies on his own exploration, or that the unreliable old man verbally states that the senior brother practices on his own. Senior brother is now over 200 years old, a senior foundation builder and a fourth-level alchemist. His talent in the cultivation world is already considered a genius. Starting from the foundation building period, each level requires a huge amount of spiritual power, and some sects require foundation building as their recruitment condition. The disciples who can be trained by the sect from a young age are almost all geniuses among geniuses. Even if they are not of this type, they are brought back by their respective masters. In addition, if you want to enter the sect, you can only enter the college first. After completing your studies in the college, you are eligible to enter the sect. However, in the college, various resources need to be competed for, and almost after completing their studies, not many people can reach the foundation building period. All of them are like 8 or 9 layers of refining chi. So the regulations are just for outsiders to hear, who knows what the actual situation is when recruiting. It has to be said that our female lead is very lucky. But now the lucky female lead feels very unlucky. She is now running desperately. The situation is like this. As soon as she entered the first level of chi refining today, her senior brother brought her to practice. Crazy, isn't it true that one can only learn basic techniques when refining the third layer of chi? The first layer of chi refining brought her to experience, and she was stunned at the time. But senior brother didn't care about her and threw her directly into the forest of firewood. When she was about to leave, she also told her that the monsters here were the lowest level and could not kill people. At most, they could make people half dead, so remember to avoid the monsters. In addition, we also need to dig enough 1,000 crystal radishes, 1,001 spirit grass, and 1,000 gathering spirit grass. I'm really crazy, and I even assigned her homework. It was only here that she found out that this crystal carrot was actually the food for the crystal rabbit. Just as she dug one, she was chased by the crystal rabbit and a group of crystal rabbits chased after her. It's not that she's afraid of rabbits, but because this rabbit can spit out ice and even spit out a big piece, bigger than hail, which hurts when it hits a person. Don't ask her why she knows. A small person carrying a small backpack, chasing a group of crystal rabbits behind, this scene is funny no matter how it looks. Huomu Forest is the favorite place for children with Huomu spiritual roots below the third level of chi refining. Because the firewood spiritual energy here is the strongest, in addition to that, there are also many basic spiritual herbs here. Unfortunately, this place is monopolized by the medicine refining peak, and non-disciples of the medicine refining peak are not allowed to enter. The spiritual energy in Jun Yuyu's body has been depleted, relying entirely on 2 short legs to run. Don't throw ice on me, it's so cold. Shouldn't we just dig you a carrot? Do we need to be so stingy? Just give it back to you. In the end, Jun Yuyu threw out the crystal radish that he had finally dug out. As soon as the radish is taken out, one knows if there is one. The group of crystal rabbits behind have all stopped chasing. Jun Yuyu quickly found a tree and climbed up 3 times, 5 out of 2. She was still panting heavily on the tree, watching as the group of rabbits carried the radishes she had left on their heads. It seems that this senior brother can't take it anymore. With a sigh, quickly meditate to restore spiritual power in the body. It seems that we can't provoke the crystal rabbit for the time being. Don't be fooled by the beautiful name of this rabbit, but they are not easy to provoke because they are always a nest when they move out, not alone like other small animals. Therefore, the crystal radish may have to be dug in the end. Perhaps the firewood spiritual energy here is too strong, and it didn't take long for the stamina to recover. Sliding down from the tree, it seems that the herbs arranged by senior brother only have one spirit herb without the protection of demon beasts. So, go dig one spirit herb first. Yiling grass, a low-level spiritual medicinal herb, is not classified as a level medicinal herb, but it is one of the essential medicinal herbs for refining Juling Dan. Mild heat, living in places with high fire spiritual power. I closed my eyes and felt it, then set off towards the direction where the fire element was most intense. This small secret realm is indeed very safe. I haven't encountered any monsters along the way, no wonder my senior brother threw her here. Not only is there not much danger, but there are also many basic medicinal herbs, so she has been digging and walking along the way, and there are countless low-level medicinal herbs piled up in the space bracelet. It's not that she's open-minded when it comes to wealth, but because the alchemist is too stingy. Every medicinal herb needs to be purchased at her own expense. After purchasing it, it may not be possible to successfully refine it. If you can dig it yourself in the wild, try to dig it yourself. According to my senior brother, his first batch of elixirs took 10 full rounds to be successful, and the ones he refined were low-level and could only be eaten by mortals. Those who practice cultivation will accumulate toxins in their bodies. Jun Yu always thought that alchemists were the same profession, but he only found out after asking his senior brother about this question. The alchemist is a term used in the secular world to refer to a doctor. Doctors in the secular world have no spiritual roots, and they treat illnesses by observing, hearing, cutting, and asking. The medicinal herbs they collect are also refined into pills using fire. The pills they refine can only be used by mortals and have no effect on cultivators. Alchemists only serve people in the realm of cultivation, and their elixirs can only be used by cultivators. They can also refine elixirs used by mortals, but almost no one would do so because it would be too cheap for them. When Jun Yu first understood, memories of this body flashed through her mind. Chapter 6. The Big Secret Realm in the Small Secret Realm. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Arriving at the place where the fire element was most abundant, she finally saw the target. Excited, she threw away her small backpack and squatted down to start excavation. There was no other way, but her senior brother demanded too much, and she didn't know when she could go back until she started. She wants to go to Lingshire Peak to eat delicious food. Although people in the cultivation world do not care about their appetite, there are always some who take a different path and eat their food. The ingredients used by these people are not ordinary ingredients, but those rich in spiritual energy. The food made knows who eats it. Anyway, after her senior brother took her once, she stopped running to the cafeteria. Every time she wanted to eat, she went to the Spirit Food Peak, and all the pocket money given by her senior brother was contributed to the Spirit Food Peak. While thinking about delicious spiritual food, my hands kept moving. I don't feel my hands sore either. Jun Yu just dug and dug all the way. When she realized it, she was no longer in the firewood forest because she couldn't feel any spiritual energy here. There was a lot of spiritual energy in the air, but it was different from the firewood forest. There were only two types of spiritual energy in the firewood forest, and here, like the Gi sect, there were all kinds of spiritual energy, and it was very rich. Activate the defensive formation on your body. This was given by my master during my apprenticeship, and it is said to be able to withstand 3 attacks from Yuaning. Burn the distress talisman given by my senior brother again. She needs to find a place to hide now, waiting for her senior brother to come and rescue her. Jun Yu, who dared not stay in place for a long time, didn't know. Her senior brother looked at the burning distress symbol in his hand and felt helpless. Isn't that place not in danger? Why did he ask for help so quickly? He remembered that the only danger inside seemed to be the crystal rabbit, but those rabbits would only spit out ice like humans. Forget it, my junior sister is my favorite, go pick it up. No big deal, go with her next time. And because there were no hidden objects in the original place, Jun Yu was extremely distressed now. She memorized all the picture books taught to him by her master, but these top-notch spiritual medicines in front of her couldn't be dug out because her cultivation was not enough. She was too distressed. Although there was a gem mountain piled up in front of me, I couldn't do it and could only look at it. My family, who understands this kind of heartbreak. Another distressed talisman has been burned. Senior brother, come quickly. If you don't come again, I will definitely feel heartbroken. What Jun Yu didn't know was that Yuma had already turned around the forest of firewood for more than 10 times, but he didn't see any trace of the little junior sister. But unfortunately, the distress signal came from here again, and he was so anxious. Seeing the little junior sister sending another message, fearing that she might encounter danger, I was just about to send a message to the leader, asking us to bring the person who broke the formation over. There was a whirl in front of me, and when I opened my eyes again, I saw my junior sister. Jun Yu also found that after burning the help symbol paper, Fufan's little sisters gave her a transmission symbol she had studied. A common teleportation symbol is to send people to various places. Advanced ones can locate, while more advanced ones can transmit and locate over a large area. The little sisters sent her a piece of it because it was the latest research and had not been tested. It was also because she had fun with you. But the current situation can only be a dead horse and a living horse doctor. After all, I don't know what danger there is here, and the most important thing is that she can't get out. At least, my senior brother is also a high-level foundation builder, and his combat power is absolutely unparalleled. So silently reciting the name of the senior brother, tearing open the teleportation symbol, the senior brother really teleported to his side. Before Yuma could react, Jun Yu quickly spoke up, "Senior brother, this is a paradise for alchemists. Hurry up and dig herbs. By the way, senior brother, do you still have space? Do you still have a jade box for storing herbs?" Yuma suddenly realized that this was a huge medicinal garden, and within his senses, there was no danger except for medicinal herbs. Unknowingly, he moved his foot away because he had stepped on a level 5 elixir. "Don't worry, your senior brother has a lot of storage space, and he also brings a lot of jade boxes." After speaking, the two senior brothers and sisters started digging herbs. Senior brother didn't even say to leave, so this place must be safe, so hurry up and dig. 3 hours later, Yuma was slapped in the face. He remembers bringing a lot of jade boxes. Why did he use them up so quickly? "Junior sister, we need to walk further inside. Although these medicinal herbs are difficult to see, they are definitely not the most precious here. Our space has a preservation effect, and it can temporarily retain the medicinal power of these herbs. We need to keep the jade box for the most precious ones." Jun Yu's face was full of reluctance. She didn't understand the truth, but it was really difficult to make a decision. Yuma didn't care about his junior sister, so he directly pulled Jun Yu onto the flying sword and began flying towards the center. He had a premonition that there was the most precious thing there. This is indeed a medicine garden, and it is a small world medicine garden where countless rare spiritual objects are planted. Only those who are destined can enter. Jun Yu asked in his senior brother's arms, "Senior brother, can we hold on to the spiritual medicine we dug up? And since I have been missing for so long, hasn't anyone noticed anything wrong?" Yuma fell silent for a moment. "I was so happy that I didn't even think about this issue." But after all, he was the chief disciple and soon made a decision. Find a huge tree and stop, then place Jun Yu on the tree and sit down. Starting from the space, extract the message symbol. Jun Yu watched as his senior brother passed messages to all the uncles and uncles he knew and didn't know. Without exception, these people are all of the same lineage. After a long pause, he touched Jun Yu's head and said, "Junior sister, you're right. Everyone knows what's in the firewood forest. If we take these spiritual plants out, we won't be able to protect them, and even our master will be implicated. So I reported it directly to the sect as a reward. The things we obtained in the secret realm, no matter how rare, will be covered by the sect for us. Junior sister, we need to hurry up next. Otherwise, when those senior uncles and uncles come in, we won't even have any soup to drink. They are the real little experts in mining. Senior brother, are you serious about that last sentence? After Yuma finished speaking, he picked up Jun Yu again and flew his sword. On this leisurely journey, Jun Yu realized that there was really no danger here. It was all spiritual medicine and plants, and there were even spiritual medicines that could be eaten directly. If it weren't for the insufficient storage space, she would have packed this place and taken it away directly. She is absolutely determined. After going out, she will make more storage space. Although storage space is rare, who would let her senior brother be an alchemist? Exchanging goods is not difficult. As Jun Yu was about to fall asleep, a medicinal fragrance that penetrated her heart and spleen directly awakened her. Stare ahead with wide eyes. I'll go. It's such a big palace, but the shape of this palace is so strange, like a huge medicine furnace. Yuma took a deep breath and said, it's the site of the 9th level alchemist, the medicine dust venerable. Jun Yu also took a sip of air conditioning. As someone who is about to become an alchemist, she has seen all the famous alchemist experiences. And the name of this medicinal dust is undoubtedly the most well-known. There are rumors about him on the mainland until now. What makes perfect pills come out of every house, and where does the medicinal dust hide his alchemy experience? Of course, besides these, there are also various bizarre rumors, so I won't go into too much detail. The current issue is that they may not be eligible to enter this site. Because both of them are too young, one level is not enough. After all, Yao Chen once said that the ruins he left behind must be entered by a level 6 alchemist. The two of them scratched their fur. Jun Yu's eyes lit up, looking at his senior brother. Chapter 7. Spirit Food Peak. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Elder Marshall brother, I remember my little sisters also gave you a piece of herself. Made teleportation symbol. Yuma saw at a glance what Jun Yu was up to and immediately shattered her fantasy. Don't think about it, this talisman was able to pull me here because I was looking for you, and it was close, so it succeeded. And master, I don't know how far away we are, and the quality of this talisman is too poor. Jun Yu said, but I'm not willing to accept it. I found this place, but I can't get anything. Woo-woo. Is this venerable person having a problem with his mind? Why set such a high level? So he planted countless spiritual plants on the periphery. Yuma silently comforted Jun Yu, the inheritance inside is probably the inheritance of the medicine dust lord's pill. He also knows that the threshold he set is high, so in his lifetime, he said that those who cannot enter can find opportunities in the medicine garden. Alright, senior brother, let's go. The more we look at this place, the more it becomes disturbing. Yuma followed Jun Yu away with a good temper, but a talisman paper was thrown out of his hand, which Jun Yu did not see. Thousands of miles away, in a battlefield, Yao Jun quickly refined pills to nourish blood and qi, but the supplies still exceeded demand. He came here at the invitation of his friend and set foot in the ancient secret realm of slaughter with everyone. He thought he could get some chance, but as soon as he entered, he faced endless slaughter. After finally finding a safe place, the healing pills on my body have been used up and can only be refined now. At this moment, a wave of information enters the mind. Yao Jun's face was first joyful, then bitter. If he hadn't come in, he could have used the 1,000-mile teleportation talisman to go back and explore, but now they are completely lost in this secret realm, and the teleportation talisman has no way to teleport them out. It seems that the 9th peak can only have some soup. When Yuma received his master's reply, he was not surprised. After all, the distance was indeed too far. Silently leading his junior sister towards the direction of higher level spiritual plants. He remembers scanning over there just now with many nourishing spiritual fruits, which are good things. And at this moment, the person who received the message from Gi Zong has silently broken through the mist formation, but this formation will automatically repair, and they haven't paid much attention to it. The people who enter this place, except for those who have a clear goal of seeking inheritance, are all digging for medicinal herbs. Everyone's eyes have turned into small money. A lot of small money. Although the disciples need to hand in 10% of the wealth they receive from the secret realm, the rest is all personal. If you don't want to use it, you can also exchange it for the contribution points of the sect. In short, those who go out are all wealthy. After all, anything with some value can be exchanged for contribution points. The contribution points of the sect are not only valuable but also difficult to earn. Jun Yuyu was nibbling on the spiritual fruit while listening to his senior brother talk about interesting stories about the sect. I feel satisfied with my childhood. Senior brother, should we leave first? After all, our space is full, and staying here can only be seen but not taken. Yuma thought for a moment and said, okay, let's go out first, but if you go out, we won't be able to come in again. No problem, my gains have already been very good. Haha. Yuma picked up Jun Yuyu and flew into the sky. With just a sound of wave, they returned to the forest of firewood once again. Yuma put Jun Yuyu down and said, Junior sister, your task is not yet completed. Senior brother, go back and organize it first. Junior sister, complete the task that senior brother first assigned. Jun Yuyu. I thought I could go back now. Yuma. I'm thinking about farting until the task is completed. Jun Yuyu had to accept her fate and go digging for grass and herbs. Who would have given her an unfriendly senior brother? After a month, she finally completed the task assigned by her senior brother. Actually, it didn't take that long, but those rabbits were really despicable. She couldn't resist and just ended up in their old nest. It has to be said that the rabbits in this cultivation world are delicious, especially this rabbit, which has a unique taste. If you let the sisters of Lingshire Peak do it. No, I can't think about it. My mouth is watering. After completing the task, Jun Yuyu just spoke to her senior brother with a message symbol, then carried her small backpack and a string of rabbits towards the spirit food peak. Mainly because her mouth has been fading out recently, and every day she only has spiritual fruits and grass, and she doesn't even have to eat pigudan. You should know that Lingua and Lingqiao have almost no taste. It's better to drink plain water directly, so she's too greedy. She needs to go eat a big meal first and then go home. This month has not been without gains, at least he has entered the second level of Qi cultivation. Don't underestimate that he has only reached a certain level. This is the result of her tireless use of spiritual energy to mine spiritual medicines. Every time she digests the spiritual energy in her body and quickly meditates and absorbs it, it is only then that she enters the second level of Qi cultivation. If ordinary people want to enter the second level of gas refining, it will take at least 6 months, or even longer. So it can be said that cultivators have a long lifespan, but they spend most of their time in training. And scattered cultivation is even more miserable, without resources and connections. They spend most of their time competing for resources, and the progress of cultivation is even slower. However, they also have more means than ordinary people, after all, they are just making a living. Jun Yuyu, familiar with the door, found a small house. Without knocking on the door, he opened it and walked in, shouting in a soft voice, Junior sister, I'm here. After Jun Yuyu finished speaking, a little girl about 10 years old in a white apron walked out. The little girl looked extremely delicate, but she was holding a kitchen knife larger than her head in her hand. Seeing Jun Yuyu's eyes also brighten, Xiao Yuyu, you finally came. Come on, come on, come on. I've made the sour bamboo shoots you mentioned last time, come and see if it tastes like this. I reached out and dragged Jun Yuyu into the kitchen. Flip out an old jar from under the shelf and carefully remove the cloth on top. The excruciating sour smell erupted in an instant, and the smell spread throughout the village. Jun Yu shrugged his small nose and said, "Yes, yes, that's the taste. Are we going to make Luosifen next?" The girl's name is Yi, and she excitedly said, "Yes, yes. I have already prepared all the materials, and only this thing remains. I feel like I haven't met the requirements, so I've been waiting for you to come out. Now that everything is ready, we can start making soup. Let's start now. I can't wait to eat the first bowl of Luosifen." "No problem, I had Bai Qing Luo spit sand 3 days ago, and today I vomited completely. Let's go boil soup now. And I have also prepared rice noodles, which are made with 1,000 spirit rice. Qian Ling Mi. You haven't been beaten by your father, have you?" "Don't worry, my mother stopped me. Besides, he wouldn't want to beat me up." "Well, that's also true." Chapter 8. Enchanting Luosifen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I still remember that one of her favorite snacks in the previous life was Luosifen. Because of this, she also went to Liuzhou specially to eat the most authentic. Although she didn't know if she had actually tried authentic food in the end, it had to be said that this kind of food still left a particularly deep impression on her life. Just like durian stinky tofu, people who like to eat it are killing. People who don't like to eat it are suffering when they smell it. She is exactly the kind she used to be. In her past life, she had money, so she particularly liked to go around and grind those delicious foods. However, she still prefers to eat, so most of the time she only learned about them for the sake of eating. At the beginning, Luosifen was also despised by her. After all, she knew everything about the taste, but later she was really fragrant. She had to eat a portion every day before she could eat. Otherwise, she would have to dream about it that day. She had to eat a portion to be reconciled. Lingshe Peak only has one mountain range, and due to the scarcity of disciples, the peak owner is not very in charge. The disciples on the mountain find their own places to build houses, and their houses are built according to their preferences. Therefore, those with good relationships are closer, while those with bad relationships are very far away. The main reason is actually that there are too few people who enter the Tao through food. People in the cultivation world have been in seclusion for decades, hundreds, and thousands of years. If they have to eat continuously, it is a waste of time. Moreover, after reaching the foundation, they can open the valley. Many people think that spiritual food does not need to exist, so they should let all children who practice start using the open valley pill from the beginning. This debate has always been ongoing, but no one dares to claim the cancellation of spiritual food. Although in the realm of cultivation, there are many cultivators like ants, but more of them are still ordinary people who cannot practice. Those are the ones who truly need these foods. No matter where you are, there are always lower social strata. The people of the sect protect ordinary people who are powerless, and all ordinary people can do is plant spiritual rice, spiritual plants, and spiritual valleys. Pick out the best one and offer tribute layer by layer, praying that the sect will continue to bless them. This is the current situation in the cultivation world. They are said to be mortals, but they have 100 years longer lifespan than humans in the secular world. Pulling away, Jun Yu and Yi, with their short legs, skillfully washed the screws and began to cook one by one based on the materials she had learned in her past life. However, they underestimated the taste of Luosifen. So before the soup bottom came out, a particularly enchanting smell floated over the entire sky. Lingshe Peak is fried. Crouching Trough, which turtle grandson has diarrhea. How tender is the taste. Why does this taste a bit like cooking? Who is it? Who is developing strange dishes again? Smelling the smell, why does it look a bit like the peak owner's side? Where does he belong? Just go and take a look and you'll know. I'll take the lead. Add me one. A crowd began to follow the scent and look for it. The two little ones here just cooked the soup and boiled the rice noodles, and were about to start eating, so a large crowd of people came around them. Jun Yu and Yi were both stunned. "I'll go, you two are just cooking shit. The taste is amazing, even better than a thatched cottage." "Go ahead, thatched cottage. Didn't you see that this is a new dish? Let me try it first." Before everyone knew it, they had already raised the Luosifen in front of Yi, who was not afraid of death. While stirring, they giggled, "Niece, I will test the drug for you first and smoke it away." After taking a mouthful of powder, he stopped talking and hurried to work. As soon as the people around saw his expression, they immediately knew that this thing was absolutely delicious, and regardless of the taste, they all started to do it themselves. Jun Yu quickly picked up 2 bowls with quick eyes and hands, and then pulled Yi aside to hide. Sure enough, the power of foodies is powerful. No matter how bad this thing smells, as long as it tastes good, someone dares to bite it. Suction slip. Suction slip. Suction slip. For a moment, in this quiet little garden, there was only the sound of fans. For some reason, Jun Yu is craving sour and spicy noodles again. Silently looking at the hard-working people, as if they have ready-made labor, let them work instead. Quietly moving to Yi's side, "Little senior sister, does Lingshire Peak have sweet potato flour?" Yi, who was sucking food, looked up in confusion and said, "Sweet potato flour? It seems like there isn't any." Suddenly, a head squeezed in between the two of them, and Xiao Wu, who was about to taste the taste for Yi first, said, "Is sweet potato flour any new food?" "Little girl, talk carefully, maybe I will know." "It is made from an elliptical ingredient called sweet potato, so it is called sweet potato flour. Sweet potatoes are very sweet and can be eaten raw or cooked, but they are easy to fart when eaten raw. Ordinary people eat them more often." Xiao Wu clapped his hands and said, "I know what you're talking about. I have this thing, but I don't have any fans. Little girl, do you know how to do it? Come and guide us." Before Jun Yu could speak, Yi had no choice but to say, "Uncle Wu, are you trying to trap the white wolf empty-handed?" Xiao Wuxian touched his nose and said, "Little girl, let me talk to your senior brother about the division, and you can teach us the method." Yi is satisfied. After all, no one has been able to get a discount from Yuma's subordinates yet. Jun Yu. "Junior sister, you turned your elbow in the wrong direction." Yi doesn't care about these things. After all, her newly recognized little sister has given her a lot of inspiration for making food and has also opened up many new businesses. No matter what, we can't let the little sister suffer. So, Jun Yu and Yi happily talked about Luosifen together, and we will talk about hot and sour powder later. Jun Yu completely forgot that there was still a senior brother at home who was starving for food. After chatting, Jun Yu and Yi started to get busy again. After all, after leaving for so long, Jun Yu's snack bar has already been emptied. Hurry up and restock now. Without the persuasion of the descendants, the 2 little ones came directly to the neighborhood market. There is everything here, as long as there are spirit stones, you can buy anything. Of course, it's hard to say whether what you bought is real or fake. Jun Yu and Yi mainly come to visit the local market. After all, they are young and their families are not at ease with them. Today is also because of Jun Yu. Koling's Jun Yu still doesn't know, this is the last time she can come out freely, and the next time is unknown. Everyone knows this except for Jun Yu and Yi. Wait until the neighborhood is completely scattered. Only those who followed the 2 children appeared and took them away separately, sending them back to their respective peaks. After thanking the elder, Yuma sent his junior sister back to her room, who was sleeping like a dead pig. Glancing at the sky, little junior sister, the real tough days ahead are coming. I wonder if you're ready. Yuma looked at the Pigu pill in a storage bag, his lips slightly curved, and he smiled with a malicious smile. Chapter 9. Transition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There is no time in the mountains, and there are only ghosts in the world for 1,000 years. I thought my senior brother was a gentle and elegant young master, but it turned out to be a white and black one, not just an ordinary black one. 100 years ago, when she returned from Lingshire Peak, she saw her senior brother smiling at her. I thought my senior brother was welcoming her back. In the blink of an eye, he was thrown into the unique small secret realm of Yaofoam. 12 hours a day, 1 hour is for rest, and the rest of the time is spent practicing, refining medicine, and killing monsters. Of course, there are occasional days off, but this vacation is not for you to rest. Her senior brother directly sealed her spiritual power, threw it into the mortal city, and then left without leaving anything for her. She finally knows why the sect doesn't accept children. According to their wasteful way, they can't raise many children. She is now at the peak of the 9th level of chi refining, about to build a foundation, and happened to have emerged from the small secret realm. The main thing is about building a foundation. It not only requires cultivation, but also a bit of luck. Otherwise, practicing until death is useless. Of course, you can also use some external force, such as building a foundation pill. But as an alchemist, she knows that as long as it is a pill, there is poison present. Unless it is of perfect grade, using pills to build a foundation is not a good way. She did have the perfect foundation pill, but she was still young. She decided to find a way to build her own foundation. After all, it was a temporary shortcut that required using pills to upgrade from now on, which was too risky. She was only 7 years old when she entered the secret realm, and now it has been over 100 years. She has reached the pinnacle of the 9th level of chi refining, and this talent is truly formidable. Speaking of which, senior brother has been miserable these years. He has stopped raising children, but he has been both a father and a mother to her. He also has to deal with various affairs of the 9th peak, and in his spare time, he has to throw her into the mortal world. He is a true time management master. Yuma still looked like a gentle and elegant gentleman, dressed in a blue brocade robe, standing gracefully on the mid-air spiritual boat. June leisurely paused in his footsteps. Is it necessary to use a spirit boat for the journey of such a small place? Or are you ready to throw her out again? Although I thought so in my heart, I accelerated my steps towards the spiritual boat. Senior brother, Umo gave a big smile. Umo. Junior sister, I'm going on a long journey. During this time, you can rest in the sect and go out to experience when I come back. I didn't come to pick her up after a while. Okay, senior brother. Your expression should be as well behaved as possible. My parents have gone out, and the 9th peak is my world. Jun Yu couldn't control her ecstatic heart. Yuma explained some daily matters and once again reminded him anxiously, remember to go find the leader when encountering problems, don't take responsibility on your own. Okay, senior brother. Although Yuma was still very uneasy, he didn't say anything more. He also reminded his fellow disciples in the sect to take good care of them. Mainly because it's not convenient for him to take people with him this time, otherwise he would have packed his junior sister and taken her away. As you watched your senior brother's spirit boat go far away, you took a happy 8-character step. The first step without family control is to have a wave of junk snacks. Never underestimate the ability of a chef. Back then, she only verbally explained the ingredients and basic methods of snacks, but as a result, he not only restored the delicious snacks 1.1, but also created more flavors on the original basis, earning a lot of spiritual stones for Luosifen. Of course, she also made a lot of money. After all, it was a technical investment. I leisurely arrived at the square market at the foot of Lingshire Peak, which is unique to Lingshire Peak. Each mountain has its own unique square market that specializes in selling specialty products, and there is a larger mixed square market at the foot of the mountain. Those places are mixed with good and bad, and fake ones won't be returned. Take a deep and leisurely breath, and the aroma of food in the air enters your nose. The fireworks in the human world are the most soothing. Take out the spirit stone. A bowl of Lingyu tofu, with sesame and spicy. Abnormal and hot Luosifen. Super sour and super spicy sour and spicy powder. Renew the big milk tea. The advantage of being a cultivator is that no matter how much you eat, you can still hold it. When EE received the news and found Jun Yuyu, her hands were already full of things. Take a closer look, there is everything to eat and drink. Jun Yuyu also saw the little sisters and waved excitedly, but she forgot that his hands were full of things, so that everything on his hands hit his face. EE. As for what? Isn't there a storage bracelet? Jun Yuyu. I said I forgot you believed it for a while. Helpless, she helped the little sisters share the things on her hands. After watching Jun Yuyu solve the food on her hands as quickly as she had been hungry for 8 lives, she asked, "What's Yuyu going to do next?" After all, after reaching the 9th level of Qi refining, pure cultivation is no longer effective. Swallow the food in your mouth. Let's take a break first and go experience it when my senior brother comes back. By the way, have you developed any new dishes recently? I can come and try them out. EE said, I really don't have this, but my dad has recently cultivated a new spiritual plant. Let's go take a look together. The spiritual plants of Lingshi Peak are delicious. Walk and walk, hurry up and lead the way. E walked helplessly ahead. There are no ugly people among cultivators, as they have achieved a perfect ratio of skin and height through washing their meridians and marrow. Although there is not much difference in age between Jun Yuyu and EE, their temperament is completely different, attracting a large number of returning crowds as they walk on the road. Looking at the neatly cultivated land on both sides of the road, the land is planted with spiritual plants that can only appear in different periods, colorful and vibrant. No matter how many times you watch it, you won't get bored. Some people in the field are checking whether the formation they are laying is correct, some are checking for pests on it, and some are weeding. Everyone is busy with their own tasks, not disturbing each other, yet harmonious. Yi's father is the second elder of Lingshi Peak. He is carefully inspecting the white jade fruit under his command, which he obtained by cross-breeding red fruit and white spirit grass. Although he has planted a lot, there are too few survivors. Dad, I'm coming to see you, he said from a distance, listening to his innocent daughter's voice. Is that to come see him? That's to see if his white jade fruit is ready. Looking up at the two people who came from afar, covering their hearts with their hands, it was over, but Bai Yugua couldn't hold on anymore. Why not harm others, just catch him and cause trouble, right? The second elder is eager to cry without tears. Still thinking about it, EE had already arrived in front of her. Her eyes lit up as she looked at the white jade fruits on the ground. Wow, it's already ripe. Dad, I'll try it first. With quick eyes and quick hands, he pulled off the 2 largest ones and handed one to Jun Yuyu. EE wiped the clothes directly without washing them, and then bit them down. Jun Yuyu also has a unique appearance. After taking a sip, the clear juice with a strong spiritual energy flowed into your mouth. Jun Yuyu's eyes lit up, and this thing is not inferior to the Huiling Dan. The second elder smiled and asked, how about my newly cultivated white jade fruit? Not only is its effect comparable to that of a spiritual pill, but most importantly, it can also be consumed by ordinary people without any side effects. So powerful. What is the effect of ordinary people eating it? The experiment hasn't been done yet, I don't know, said the second elder for a moment. Jun Yuyu. Chapter 10. Breaking the Edge of Dust. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How do you know there are no side effects? Although there are no experimental results yet, someone has tried it. Although I don't know which unlucky guy got trapped, I can research and use it to refine pills. Even if it can't be refined into pills, I can still eat them myself. Thinking of this, Jun Yuyu quickly asked, Second Elder, haven't these white jade fruits been sold? Not yet, why do you want to buy it? By some research and research. Not all of them are ripe yet. Let EE take you to pick some and take them back to eat. Come back and buy them when they are fully ripe. E quickly took Jun Yu away when she heard the words, and left the little sisters behind. She was afraid it was the topic, and she didn't know where to go. I collected a lot of white jade fruits and also collected many other spiritual fruits. Jun Yu went back to Lingshire Peak with E, and there was no one at the 9th Medicine Peak. When he went back, he would rather stay here with his little sisters. I haven't been playing here for several days. As soon as I returned, I heard that the people from the first sect came to find the leader. It wasn't much at first, but the first sect brought many disciples over this time. The two sects probably haven't seen each other for a long time, so they wanted the disciples to establish a relationship. This connection didn't cause any problems. It sounds like a sparring, but who doesn't know it's a probing? We defeated the first sect on our side. The argument between the younger generation was already nothing, but the first sect actually died with a disciple passed down. Is this a false accusation? It's not acceptable to join the same sect, and that's how it got into trouble. Many major sects have returned to the same sect. Jun Yu smelled the scent of conspiracy. The high-ranking officials of the Gi sect also thought the same way, so they invited out all the retired elders. Jun Yu was not aware of the follow-up of the matter, as she found that there were too many of her herbs, all of which were low-level. She decided to refine all of these low-level herbs into pills and innovate, because she had always been curious about itching powder and half-steps with a smile. She wanted to try and see if it could be refined. By the time the basic herbs on hand were almost consumed, it had been over 3 months. After finally waiting for Jun Yu to pass, EE immediately dragged her towards the main hall of the sect. Along the way, she also figured out what had happened. Ultimately, it is the inheritance of the medicine dust venerable that caused the trouble. I don't know how the people from the evil cultivation found out about this news, so they spread it directly. The people from the first sect didn't listen to the sect's command and directly brought people to come to their door. Unfortunately, the person who brought them to their door was possessed by a heavenly demon again. Each sect has its own unique protective formation. The heavenly demon had just broken through the barrier of the cultivation world and happened to be attached to the human body. Before making any major moves, he was strangled in a protective battle, and the person who was attached also hung up. Before his death, he even told people that he had handed over the inheritance of the heavenly demon to the disciples of the Gi sect. Unfortunately, there are many disciples who have come into contact with him. This is a trap, which means there are 2 inheritances within the Gue zone. Everyone wants the inheritance of a divine-level alchemist. The inheritance of the heavenly demon clan is something that everyone wants to destroy. So the matter persisted. Gi sect insists that they have not received the inheritance of the alchemist, but other sects do not believe it. After all, it has already been widely known. Besides, the inheritance of the alchemist has not been inherited by the heavenly demon, so we must find this person. There was a stalemate like this, and in the end, the Buddhist people came forward and brought in a mirror. It is said that this mirror can reflect whether the person has inherited the lineage. Of course, returning to the same sect will not do it. What is the difference between this and directly searching? It's so insulting, the senior management almost started fighting directly. In the end, various major sects gathered a lot of good things to make the people of the one sect relax and let their disciples look in the mirror. So, all the people who followed the same sect suffered. Everyone at the medicine refining peak must take care of it. Even those who are outside must rush back. Everyone knows that the goal of these people is to pass on the legacy of alchemists. But who dares to go to war easily? The medicine refining peak now only has Jun Yu and senior brother Yumo. She is in seclusion, while senior brother is not in the sect. Unfortunately, they have all been to the secret realm, and now their suspicion is the greatest. Jun Yu is not afraid, after all, she has not really obtained this thing. After taking a candid photo of her, the leader glanced at her and called E over. Jun Yu was counting the ants on the ground at the door, bored and waiting for EE. After a long time, EE came out with a solemn expression on her face. Jun Yu was puzzled and said, "EE, what's wrong?" EE looked at Jun Yu solemnly without saying a word, just like this. Jun Yu's scalp is tingling from being seen, what's going on? EE reached out and grabbed Jun Yu, then flew back to the spirit-eating peak. She pressed Jun Yu onto a stool and said, Do you know how to break the bond of dust?" "What's that?" Jun hesitated. Seeing that you were unaware, EE's face became even worse, but she cursed Yao Jun and Umo half to death in her heart. Dust Fate, as a worldly child who enters the path of cultivating immortality, has had no relationship with parents, siblings since the moment they left the mortal world. The college recruits students in the mortal world. When it is detected that they have spiritual roots and enter the college, the teachers of the college will give their parents a sum of money to buy out the cost of life, which is the end of the mortal world. Because the children recruited are young and forgetful, most colleges recruit students in this way. In the realm of cultivation, there is no need to cut off worldly ties, because ordinary people in the realm have a longer lifespan and more choices. Whether they sell themselves as servants or send them to academies, they have surplus resources to provide for their children. Jun Yu, why doesn't it sound right? Do we have to break ties with dust? EE. Not necessarily. Jun Yu. EE said, I'm just talking to you about worldly affairs. Also, the worldly ties on your body are not broken. If you don't solve the problems on your body, you won't be able to build a foundation. After all, it's not about breaking ties. You sighed leisurely. After being carefree for so many years, you still have to go back. I thought you could forget when you came to the cultivation world, but unexpectedly, even the cultivation world cannot cut off cause and effect. Even if she secretly burns paper to pray for blessings every year, it cannot change the fact that this body died young. All she can do is return to the secular world to be filial to the loved ones of this body. But I don't know where my home is. How should I go back? It's okay, the sect has a worldview mirror. As long as you stand in front of it, that mirror can show you from that secular world. Jun Yu. I come from a different world. Okay, Sister I want to take a break. Today's situation has made me a bit confused. Okay, but Yuyo, the leader asked me to tell you that you need to do it as soon as possible. He saw that there was a problem with the dust line on your body, which means your family in the secular world is in big trouble. A cultivator who has not cut off their worldly ties cannot ascend to the great path without cutting off their worldly ties. It is troublesome that every upgrade will have a demon in their heart. Jun Yu. What happened to the family with this body? Sister I'm going to meet the leader. I'm going to die in the secular world.